Hey, shalom, 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 lakam, which is peace unto you all. Hayawam tawabla atam za achikam yawam an Charlotte, which is good day. This is your brother Yawam from the GMS camp in Charlotte. Nachamatam kayah malakat hashamayim kwara, repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Call laim la la, but now Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rocha, Hakodash, Wamashana, Laza, Quanim, Nawa, Wamal Akim, Shorochakadar, which is all praises to our Father Yahweh, which means he exists, Bahasham, and the name Yahweh Shai delivers in double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Zayah Shaya, this is Isaiah chapter 47, and we'll get verse 1. And it says, Lament for Babylon, the subtitle. But verse 1, it reads, it says, Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon, sit on the ground, there is no throne. O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. All right, so it says, Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon, and ultimately, that dust, all right, it represents a state of confusion, But then it says, Come down and sit in the dust, because America, has been the spearhead essentially of the earth. All right, essentially everybody has taken on the ways of America, Babylon the Great, being that essentially they have been put into that position pretty much, all right, in which the nations are seeing that the ways of America, Babylon the Great, are not beneficial, so corresponding with being taken out of that rulership, all right, also is that the nations ultimately having a disdain for this place, essentially going into the how that eminence is being taken away from America, Babylon the Great. All right, but verse 1, I'm actually get a quick precept, though. This is Ibadiah, Obadiah, chapter 1, and we'll get verse 2. And it says, verse 1, it says, Edom will be humbled. All right, specifically those in America, Babylon the Great. But it says, the vision of Ibadiah, thus saith the Lord, power concerning Adawam. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise, yea, and let us rise up against her in battle. All right, and that's essentially, what's taking place, all right, because this place is going to be ambushed, thus saith the scriptures. All right, verse 2, it says, Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. All right, so America, all right, the Edomite in America, all right, is greatly despised. All right, America, Babylon the Great is greatly despised, because at one point, again, they was the spearhead, you see, but now the Lord is essentially bringing that power down. All right, he's bringing down that eminence. All right, and they're essentially greatly despised. That's why these other nations don't want to have anything to do with America, Babylon the Great. They're making those backdoor deals, and essentially teaming up together. I'm gonna get a quick precept real fast. This is Isaiah chapter 33 and verse 1. It says, Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou wast not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled, and when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they should deal treacherously with thee. So America, a part of that eminence, how they had that eminence was how they dealt in treachery, all right, and also the spoiling, all right. In verse 1, America was known as the hammer of the earth. While it still does have some eminence, it don't have that same eminence that it once had. So that hammer, all right, goes into that spoiling, all right, and also America has dealt treacherously. You see, so in the Lord bringing this place down, all right, ultimately going back to Isaiah 47 and 1, all right, the other nations again is looking at this place with disdain, all right, because they have been made small among the heathen, all right. And that smallness goes into a insignificance. All right, that word in Ibadiah, Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 2, it says small. All right, it means to be made right here. Small, it says quatan. It's a lot. It says quatan, and it says small, insignificant, unimportant. Because at first, America had some type of importance, but these other nations is not respecting, all right, that power anymore, you see, and that's because of the Lord bringing this place down. But going back, Isaiah Yashaya chapter 47 and verse 1, it says, Come down and sit in the dust. All right, so essentially that goes into the eminence being taken from America, Babylon the Great, and that dust represents confusion. All right, everybody in America, Babylon the Great does not know what's going on other than the prophets. All right, so it says, Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon, sit on the ground, there is no throne. All right, and it says virgin daughter of Babylon, you see, because ultimately this place takes on the ways of ancient Babylon. Ancient Babylon was into a lot of that witchcraft and, things of that nature, you see. And also, the scriptures highlight this place as Egypt, because it also takes on the ways of ancient Egypt. All right, which they was dabbling into different forms of sorcery and deception and things of that nature. All right. But it says, O virgin daughter of Babylon, sit on the ground. There is no throne. That eminence is being taken. It says, O daughter of the Chaldeans. All right, Chaldeans is pretty much those that was in Babylon. They was I believe it was a sect. Let me actually go into it. And it says, Chaldeans. It says Chaldeans, also an astrologer, as if proverbial of that people. It says inhabitants of Chaldea. All right, I'm gonna go into this right here. It says Chaldeans, the inhabitants of Babylonia. So they was heavy into the left hand. All right, which is place again takes on the ways of the left hand madness. But it says, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. All right, this place is no more being called tender and delicate, you see, because how this place was incepted, all right, is being brought back into remembrance. That's why they have to bring up terms like critical race theory and things as such. I'm gonna get a quick precept fast. This is Isaiah 19 and verse 14. And it says, the Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. At one point, all right, America, it had the American dream, white picket fence, you got the dog, you got the family, you got the big house. All right. And you had the land or whatever else, was included in the American dream, have your job and et cetera and et cetera. You see, but another reason why this place is no more being termed tender and delicate is because the perverse spirit, all right, that's in this place, all right, those that send the other nations, all right, that are in America, Babylon the Great, they're seeing they're essentially seeing how business is conducted in America, all right, how it's not beneficial, all right, and also in that perverse spirit, all right, comes with the politics, all right, the entertainment, the lifestyle, all right, the nastiness, all right, the moles, all right, all of that is essentially in this place, all right, which again goes into that perverse spirit, and which that word perverse goes into I believe it's the I. Perverse, it says or our ayam, and it says distorting, warping, perversity. It says perverting, and it says depravities, and it says perversity. So pretty much, it says which is not suitable. It's not suitable. All right, it's not suitable scripturally, and ultimately, it's not suitable for life. So that also plays into why this place is not being called tender and delicate. Because America puts on the commercials and the ads and things of that nature. That's what Esau gets. He thrives off of the media. He thrives off of sensationalism. All right, making things appear nice. All right. So at one point, this place appeared like the place to be. You got the dog, the white picket fence, the big house, and it's a land of entertainment. You see, but when you really lift up what's under that skirt of America, Babylon the Great, all right, you're seeing all the, the filth and the the things that happen in history. All right, and that goes into, again, that term for critical race theory. And really it goes into this right here. I'm going to get this as well. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 16. And it says, thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, because the glory, all right, America had its glory days, all right. This land, was gotten through, manifest destiny, but it doesn't detail what happened during manifest destiny. All right. It doesn't talk about, all right, how, when America had the 13 colonies, how was those 13 colonies essentially acquired? It doesn't talk about that. All right, that goes into that shameful spewing, or that goes into that shameful glory, you see, because if one was to really sit down and look at the history of how these places was incepted and how these lands were gained and so on and so forth, ultimately, that what these Edomites gloried in, they would look at them with disgust, you see, because this land was taken from Gad and Reuben. All right. And then also this land was acquired, all right, through means of deception. But continuing on, Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 16, and it says, thou art filled with shame for glory. All right. Their glory is ultimately shame. It is disrespect. All right. It's a disrespect unto them. It says, thou art filled with shame for glory, drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. And that's ultimately why they have to go back and say, oh, well, slavery wasn't really slavery. They was indentured servants, stuff like that, you see, because ultimately it makes them look bad. All right, so going back, Isaiah 47 and verse 2. All right, because again, it's not, this place is being called tender and delicate, you see, because it's a shame on their glory. All right, so let's go back to Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 2. And it says, take the millstones and grind mill, uncover thy locks, make bare the thigh, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. All right, let's get this in the NLT. And it says, take heavy millstones and grind flour, remove your veil and strip off your robe, expose yourself to public view. To public view. So this place is being exposed. All right. Again, going into that shameful spewing, you see, because how this place was essentially built up. For one, Jake built this place up, you see, but what they'll say is, oh, well, Edomites, built this place up. All right, they'll take the credit. Jake will put in the grunt work. Esau will take the credit. All right, and that's not what's put out to the public. All right, for the mass majority of the people, they feel as if this country is great because of Esau, so-called great, but everything that was essentially made was made off the backs of Jake. Jake came up with them. Even the inventions. All right, whether it was, I believe whiskey was made by Jake. All right, the hair grease, and so on and so forth. All of these was made off the backs of Jake. You see, so the inception of different things, inventions, infrastructure is made as if, or is made to seem as if, Esau made it so-called great, you see, but really that came from the works of Jake, and that's what's being brought into the remembrance. All right, that's what's making this place that's one thing that's making this place no more be called tender and delicate. All right, and that's what's taking place in this exposure. All right, and it's also be part of that exposure as well. All right, is these things being brought to the forefront, you see, because the Lord required that which is past. Let's get that real fast. This is Ecclesiastes Quahala chapter 3 and verse 15. And it says, that which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been, and the Most High required that which is past. And so the Lord requires an account for the things that have happened in history. All right, and the Lord is going to hold Esau Edom accountable for that. All right, Esau Edom is being put on trial. All right, so nevertheless, continuing on, let's go back to Isaiah chapter 47, and we will get verse 3. It says, thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yet thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. All right, so essentially, the Lord is going to enact judgment on Esau Edom. Let's get this real fast. This is Isaiah Yeshaya chapter 55, and we will get verse 10. And it says, for as the rain cometh down and snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, but watereth the earth, and maketh it bring forth and bud, that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater, so shall my word be forth that goeth forth. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. You see, so again, look, Esau Edom is on trial. All right, and just how Esau Edom, in his court system, he had a judge. All right, they had the gravel. All right, and they hit that little, I think it's called a mallet, or the little circle thing that be on the judge's podium, or where they sit at. Pretty much they take the gravel, boom. That's the verdict right there. That's that judge's word, and that's final. All right, so that's a small example as to, what the Lord is gonna do. What the Lord is much greater. You see, and then not only that, all right, with that judge, a lot of times, the judges say, okay, boom, this is what you got. A lot of times they'll serve their time in certain states. Whether you take it like Virginia, if I'm not mistaken, people serve 85% of their time. All right, they don't serve 100% of the crimes that they pretty much whatever their charges was and their punishment, they serve 85% of that specific time. All right, and that's I believe that's after the judge essentially gives them their sentence. All right, so that's in a sense. All right, they're not ultimately keeping their word. All right, they aren't being, I guess, for lack of better words, being men of their word. You see, but it's not going to be like that with the Lord. The Lord's going to hold Esau Edom accountable for everything that he has done. That's why it said, like we got Ecclesiastes 3:15, the Lord requires that which is past. All right, the Lord is making a righteous inquisition. All right, and inquisition, when something is being inquired of, is being searched out. Because again, this is a trial. All right, that's why I wanted to get this Isaiah 55:11. Read it again. It says, "So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth; it shall not return unto me void." Hey, that's a way of that judge is sentencing them to a certain amount of time. A lot of times they don't serve all that time. So those specific judges are in a worldly sense. All right, the worldly judges, all right, their word is going out void. You see, because this system is set up in a wicked manner. All right, it's all a scheme. You see, but this ain't gonna be no scheme. All right, Esau Edom is gonna serve every bit of his punishment that's written. All right, I'm gonna read this and I'm gonna get one more and I'm gonna go ahead and close. But this is Isaiah 55:11. It says, "So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth; it shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it." Hey, so it was written that Esau Edom would come up into to rulership. He came up into rulership. It was written that Esau Edom essentially was going to have that power taken from him, and that's what's going to happen. All right, he's going to go into slavery, and that's what's going to happen. The Lord's word does not return unto him void. I'm gonna get another one. That'll be it. But this is Psalms Taharyam, chapter 149. We'll give verse 6. It says, "Let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye the Lord." Hey, so this is going to be a sentence from the Lord. All right, and the Lord is going to make good on his word. The Lord word doesn't return unto him void. It's going to accomplish that which he pleases. So the Lord is enacting judgment on Esau Edom, all right, and the heathen are in 2/3. So I just wanted to go into that. We went into Isaiah Yashaya, chapter 47, verses 1-3. Adonai Tazaz, Abanai Apollos, where there was a beautiful edification through the Spirit. Wa Adonai Tazaz, Atam Yashia, Wam Tawab, Lord's will. You all have a good day. Wa Shalom, Lakam, peace to you all. Shalom, shalom.